Hi everyone, my name is Moran. Welcome to my channel where I kinda do whatever I want for now. Mainly, I think we'll be reading some Reddit stories from Am I the Asshole, for example, like today. So today I thought I would read a few stories that are all connected to the theme of writing and creativity. Because from personal experience, I know that writing can be lonely and tough, and it especially is so when the close people in your life do not really support it. And the stories that I've gathered here today concern mainly this type of thing where there are conflicts and people are just being very disrespectful and weird about writing. So let's dive in. I might get slightly pissed because these stories are just, when I read them, I was like, wow, this actually exists. Oh my god. But yeah, you will see for yourself. So let's go. The first story I have for you today: Am I the asshole for demanding my girlfriend tells me her author's pen name? I've 33 male, been dating Siobhan, female 32, for 6 months now. She's always been very vague about what she does for a living, but recently one of her friends mentioned something and I finally dragged it out of her. She's an author. She writes and self-publishes romance and erotica stories and novels, and while not rich, she's able to make a living out of it. I googled her name and I couldn't find anything, so I confronted her about this. Confronted? What? She said she's writing under a pen name, so I demanded. I love the word choice. It always says a lot about the person in advance. So I demanded she gives it to me so I know what she does. She refuses, saying she doesn't want it to be leaked even by accident and no one knows. I accused her of not trusting me, and she still refused, which was really annoying. I tried nicer approach and told her that I want to know her fantasies so I can try it out with her, and she told me that what she writes are in her fantasies but her readers, and she's still not going to tell me. Fucking reasonable. At night I tried to check her laptop for her pen name, but she changed her password before bed. I was annoyed and told her she clearly doesn't trust me and it's not fair because I have a right to know what she writes, especially since it's sensitive topic and I don't know her if I don't know her pen name. She was furious. I tried to look on her laptop and told me to go home, as she should have. Before leaving, I told her when she calls to apologize, I expect to get her pen name with the apology. She called me an asshole on my way out. I thought she'd call by now, but she hasn't. My sister told me I was the asshole and I should apologize, but I just don't see it and need second opinion. Was I the asshole? Absolutely yes. You are not entitled to her shit. Even if you were married, I mean, I get how it can be unpleasant for you to learn that she doesn't want to tell you her pen name and doesn't want to show her writing to you. It might hurt, yes, because you expect that the person you're with will be sharing a lot of things with you. I get that angle, but at the same time, to feel so enraged about it and to feel that you are entitled to know that and she should tell you that because, you know, she's obligated to do that, for me, it is strange because we all have our boundaries. If she doesn't feel comfortable telling you this, then you shouldn't be trying to pressure her into it because it's ridiculous. She doesn't owe you anything, and if she doesn't want you to know it, and I get it because she states that no one knows and she doesn't want it to be leaked even by accident, it's a very reasonable argument to have. Some people do not want to ever be outed on their pen names, and for you to just go around and be like, I confronted her, I demanded she tell me, I expect the pen name with the apology. Sir, you need to sit down and think about this for a very long time. This is terrible, obviously, and what makes it worse is just the fact that he justifies that he invaded her privacy, went on her computer without her knowledge and tried to snoop by saying that he basically has to know. It is so weird to me because there is no justification for anything like that. There is no excuses because for you just going and poking your nose into someone else's shit, it's very violating. So on top of you already pressuring her, you are also violating her privacy. Again, just in a different way. And then what I actually just find funny about this is that I want to know her fantasies so I can try it out with her. I mean, she says she writes the reader's fantasies, but even if she wrote her own, if she didn't share them with you, then maybe she doesn't want to act them out. You know, there are a lot of fantasies that people have of sexual nature that they don't feel comfortable acting out. They don't necessarily want to. They like to have the fantasy, but they would not want to try it in the reality. And also, if you're so open to knowing her fantasies, then maybe just ask her. Figure shit out with communication, because, you know, we all can talk. I feel like some people just forget it sometimes. This is literally a tantrum of a person who's not used to be told no. I completely agree with the consensus that Redditors reached. He is an asshole. Next up, we have Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend she's not as good of a writer as she thinks she is? I admit I do regret it a little, but I'll give full context so you can understand. My girlfriend has been writing since she was about 10 and has improved a lot. She primarily writes fan fiction, but recently has branched out into original work. She has a decent-ish following, and her writing isn't half bad. I supported her all this time, but ever since she started on her original works, she's been extremely wrapped up in it. She's barely done anything in the house in quarantine other than writing her books and working. She does make time for me whatever she can, but it's really not enough. I feel like an afterthought. I did talk to her about it, and we started spending more time with each other after. She said sorry too, but it's still not enough. She started growing a bit engrossed in it again, so I brought it up again. She said she's currently putting her writing over everything and told me it's the most important thing in her life right now. And she can't wait to share whatever success she has with me once this is all done. I don't know why that made me so mad. I was stewing in it for a while. I admit it was petty. Finally, she was ignoring me to write, and I told her she's not as good of a writer as she thinks, and her novels aren't really going to go anywhere. Oh my dude, there is a special place in hell. They're waiting. So to please relax. Whenever a man tells you to relax, this is just the most priceless thing, because you instantly do. You haven't thought about it before, and now you have. Now you are completely relaxed because he just told you to do that. That's how it works. Yeah. She didn't even get mad at me, just got really sad and is now not talking to me. I admit that it might have been mean, sure, but I don't think she could just ignore the relationship and the house for novels that aren't guaranteed to do well, and I kind of got mad. Okay, I have a lot to say about this. First of all, this man clearly has some problems with someone not paying all of their attention to him. He makes this very clear distinction that since she's started writing her original work, she's not been paying as much attention to him. And she also said that her writing is the most important thing in her life right now. It feels like he is just a little bit jealous about that. I don't know what the issue is with this. Well, you know, some people do expect their partners to pay a lot of attention to them, but there still should be boundaries, and you shouldn't expect her to just devote everything to you. I also get that he is upset because he's not getting enough time with her, and also he says that she doesn't pay attention to the house anymore. But at the same time, this is a period in her life where she has found an inspiration, where she wants to write, and it's important, and where she is zeroed in on this goal. So for him to just crush her like that is a very, very heartless thing to do, because writing is often a very tough thing, and it's hard for a lot of people to just sit and write. And especially since she's been writing fan fiction and now she switched to original work, it's very different, and it's hard to maybe have enough of the confidence, after all, in your own work to keep going. And you could have supported your partner if she says, especially, that she can't wait to share all of the success that she's gonna have. She's confident that she will have at least some degree of success and acknowledgement, and especially since she has some fan base already, it's not going to be as hard for her to move forward. So she has chances to be successful. And he himself says her writing is not half bad. So I would suppose that this woman, since she writes since she was like 10 years old, can tell a story. Yes, maybe she got a little bit too into it. Maybe she's, waking up at 10 a.m. and then just writes all the way up to 4 a.m. and it's just a constant marathon. But whenever you are in that space, it's very precious because it doesn't come to you often. And to lose that is painful. And also, if he was concerned about the house duties or whatever, you can just talk. And he did, but you see, he's saying that we started spending more time with each other, but it's still not enough. So she heard him, started giving him more attention. She apologized. He is still not accepting. So how is this supposed to work? She's supposed to abandon all of her projects and her wishes, her dreams, because you haven't got one more hour of Netflix in the evening, or what? As a partner, as her boyfriend, you should support her, right? It's like what relationships are mainly about. You should lift each other up and tell each other that you're gonna get there and help each other on the way. Yes, there are some problems. I acknowledge that with the housework and whatever, but to do what he did, like, I want to address it separately. He just stomped on her, like, took a fucking dump. He's just like, yeah, you're not as good as you think you are. Your books are not gonna go anywhere. Well, first of all, who the fuck are you to tell her she's not as good as she is? I mean, obviously, if there are some problems in her writing, you could have told her in a different, normal, humane kind of way, but this is just clearly an assassination attempt because, I don't see it other than this very vicious attack in an attempt to just make her stop writing altogether. You're just diminishing her talent and her skill because you want more attention. This is very strange to me. And then to go like, I do regret it a little. This whole story seems like one of those where a person doesn't genuinely want to see what other people think and to maybe change his ways. This is just one of those things where a person comes and writes the story expecting everybody to stroke his ego and tell him he was completely right, you were great, she's a bitch. It didn't happen here. The consensus is he is an asshole. I also think that. And also, the last thing I want to say about this story is that I really loved how he goes, I don't think she could just ignore the relationship and the house for novels that aren't guaranteed to do well. Do you think any of the novels that did well were guaranteed to do well? I promise you, it is not a thing. So for you to just sit there and be like, yeah, she should just abandon her dreams because, well, we have no guarantee she's gonna be a billionaire. Kinda weird. What do you mean? Aren't guaranteed. Nothing is ever guaranteed. That's the point of literature and art in general. When you create it, you don't ever know it's gonna succeed. You just do your thing in hopes to share it with the world, in hopes to find the people who will be able to appreciate it, and you are just putting yourself out there in hopes you will get some recognition or some understanding, or yeah, some people do it for money, some people do it for attention, whatever. So you are saying you are willing to support her only if it is guaranteed to succeed, then I'm sorry, I have bad news for you. She should just sit there and not do anything. It's a bit of a paradox, a bit of a toxic mindset. I just wish people didn't forget that the relationships are about the support. And sometimes it involves sacrifice, compromise, and doing the things the way you might not like to. I'm not saying you should just sacrifice all the time, but I'm saying that to coexist and to help your partner sometimes to achieve success, you have to maybe also change your ways a little bit. Let's move on to the other story, and this one is fun. It's a more lighthearted. Am I the asshole for saying that people are allowed opinions and you need thick skin to be a writer? Context: I, 32 female, write in my spare time and self-publish. I don't write literary masterpieces, that's the dream. I dabble in fantasy and erotica, and I've amassed a small following and it pays some bills. Some may call it mommy porn. I'm cool with that. I'm not a literature snob. People should be able to like what they like without folks getting bougie over it. I'm part of an author group where we meet up on Zoom and in person for those who are local to each other. We talk books, writing, getting through blocks, etc. It's fun and great for tips. Situation: a new author, Jane, 28 female, recently joined and we had an in-person meetup and Zoomed with other authors from across the globe. The topic switched to comments, reviews left by readers on our books. Jane said she didn't understand why folks left negative, sometimes mean reviews, and that it's really shitty and should be stopped. I agreed, but I also said people are entitled to have an opinion on art. That's the beauty of it, right? You can think a painting is hideous, I can think it's great. Neither of us are wrong. Win-win. And I feel it's the same for books, music, etc. It's okay to have a visceral reaction to art, in my opinion. It's serving its purpose and provoking you either way. Well, yeah, makes sense. But she was relentless in that people should be kinder and not leave comments like this book was awful, such a waste of money, etc. She wouldn't drop it. So I said, look, have I had some comments saying my book is shitty? Yes. Does it hurt? Yes. But I'm the one putting my work out there, and if folks pay for it, they're entitled to judge it and share that opinion. I can't police their opinions, even the harsh ones. She got mad, flipped the script, and said I was basically condoning hate speech. This is where I might be the asshole. I burst out laughing and said, if you think someone online calling your writing shitty is hate speech, then we come from very different worlds, and I'd love to have your problems. Of course, I wish people were kinder, but we set ourselves up to be judged when we share our work. Your book won't be everyone's cuppa, so you need to have a thick skin, especially to self-pub. Her reply was, you're probably one of those assholes that leaves shitty reviews and says things like everyone can write, but not everyone should. How dare you tell me to accept abuse? To be honest, I was too busy trying not to piss my pants laughing to respond. The group mostly thought readers should be able to share their opinions, but we moved topic quickly. A week on, Jane's still mad. I've had messages from author friends telling me to apologize to keep the peace, but I'm not sure what I'm sorry for. If anything, she called me an asshole and raised her voice over what I thought a perfectly valid opinion, which she's free to disagree with. See the beauty of different opinions. I guess I could say sorry. Am I the asshole for laughing? This is beautiful. I completely agree with the author of this post. This makes absolute sense. She sounds like a very rational, very down-to-earth person who is very accepting of other people's opinions and doesn't judge others. I think it's kind of mean that she laughed, but probably if I were in that situation, I would laugh too. It's very hard not to laugh when a person tells you straight to your face, being completely serious, that negative comments on books are hate speech. People are entitled to their opinion. I understand how you can absolutely be wounded by that as an author. I mean, I've gotten hateful reviews on a few of my books, and that was upsetting, to say the least. I am always trying to separate, the art from the artist in this way, because if the person is not directly attacking me, though it can feel like that because they write, it's terrible fucking writing, you cannot even put a sentence together. Yeah, it feels personal. But again, it's their opinion on a piece of art that you have voluntarily put up for judgment. I feel very sorry for the authors and content creators and artists, anyone who brings a original work out into the world. Because, yeah, sometimes you can hear something very, very unpleasant about your work, and sometimes people even cross the boundary. And as I've mentioned, they can attack the author or the artist, but you have to just kind of deal with that. I think you cannot forbid people from telling their opinion. There is no stopping them, and the whole point of art is to move you and elicit some reaction, some emotion from you. Obviously, it's terrible when a person hates your book. It's very sad, both for them and for the author, but well, it is what it is. And the author of this is completely right. You do need to have a thick skin. Maybe if you have some problems with not taking negativity to heart, don't read those reviews or try to avoid them. You cannot just hate on people for telling their opinions. Some people are mad, and I perfectly get when a person spends money on a book and then basically when they hate the book, right, they wasted their time. Depending on the speed of their reading, they wasted from like 4 to 20, 30, whatever hours on it. And yeah, they are allowed to go on the internet and tell their opinion to others. A lot of negative reviews are hateful, yes, but a lot of them are also thoughtful. So they will tell you, I despise this book, and then they will tell you exactly why they do. In those cases, they just help tens or maybe more people that would also hate this book for this same reason to just avoid it. So in a way, they are saving you from more hateful reviews, because some people will read that review and will be like, yeah, I cannot deal with that, it's terrible, I don't want to read a book that has this type of relationships or this type of characters or this type of plot, so I'll just not gonna read it. And you will have less negative reviews and everybody would be happy. So yeah, I think the author of this is completely not the asshole. The woman is overreacting. I think she could rethink a little bit her view on this. She only hurts herself with this. She's the one stressing out over negative reviews. People who write negative reviews do not stress over it. They are just writing this, they are done, they're happy, and sometimes those reviews are a way for them to get pleasure from it. And by stressing yourself out over it, you're just giving them more power and making yourself miserable. So yeah, maybe it's just more useful to step back a little bit and reevaluate. The next one is a bit more heated, so let's do it. Am I the asshole for not telling my family about being an author? When I was younger, my 27 female parents, late 50s, always told me that I was a great writer, but I absolutely should not pursue writing. So familiar. They routinely discouraged me and even pulled me from writers' workshops and creative writing clubs in high school and middle school. That's fucking vicious. Both my mom and dad, they're divorced, basically never agreed on anything except that you'd be destitute and a poor hobo living on the streets if I pursued writing. So I ended up getting the STEM degree they wanted and have a good job. But I've been writing on the side for 5.5 years now, and I've made a name for myself in a specific niche. I don't make a ton of money, but I've won a couple awards and have some small success in what has become my hobby. I elected not to tell my family or really anyone about it besides my current partner, 30 male of 3 years, because well, fuck them. But also I write in the romance category and there's some sexual smut in my books. I guess I feel weird and uncomfortable about sharing that with them too. Anyways, my partner Jack told them about it when we visited my mom and my aunt last month, and now they have been sending me all kinds of messages about how I'm a bad daughter and that I should have told them and shared my success. They basically complained that I robbed them of the opportunity to share info with a family and friends about my success. I told Jack that we need to spend some time apart because I feel like my boundaries were violated. He got upset, but he's staying in a hotel at the moment. I'm thinking about breaking up with him, which I've been told by my mom sounds crazy. My mom also didn't call me on my birthday this year. It was a few years ago, and instead sent me a text that said, if you don't want to talk with us, that's fine. This is what that'd be like. Message was longer, but that was paraphrased. Am I the asshole in this situation? I guess this is a pretty big thing to hide for more than a decade. No, I don't think that this woman is an asshole. Not even a little bit. This reminds me of the first story with the man who wanted to know the girlfriend's pen name, was like, her books aren't guaranteed to be successful. You're just ready to be there for a person only when they already got there. But well, guess what, honey? You're not needed anymore because you weren't there. And worse than that, you were discouraging her. Like, she makes a point. She starts the story basically saying that they pulled her from writers' workshops. What the fuck, even? I mean, what kind of parent does that? I'm not a parent, but I would expect, and from my experience, that's what people feel like, that if your child is interested in something to the point where they like show an initiative of going somewhere, you would be happy, I suppose. It is interesting how they like completely flipped, because before they were just like, yeah, no, you're gonna be poor and you're gonna die alone if you're gonna be writing. But as soon as they learn that she is somewhat successful in her niche, they are like, we are responsible for that because we created you and we are entitled to know everything about your success. And we are upset because you haven't given us a chance to brag about you for a few more years. Very self-centered because there is no consideration whatsoever about her feelings. They're not even trying to get why she didn't tell them in the first place. Maybe she thought you would be dickheads about it, and you were. And probably if she would tell them from the start, when she just started writing, they would absolutely judge her. Like, I can see that clear as day. She comes home and she's like, Mom, Dad, I am working, but after my job, I sometimes sit down and write my own book. And they would say, this is a waste of your time. What are you doing? Maybe you should go pay more attention to your boyfriend, pay more attention to your job or house duties. This is a much better use of your time. They would not support her. So I perfectly get why she didn't tell them. I think they're awful. And let's get to the main problem in here, where she is like, I am considering to break up with my boyfriend because he told them. And I think it's a valid thought because he betrayed your confidence in a massive way. It's not that he told your parents that when you were 10, you stole your father's quesadilla or something. He told a gigantic secret that she was keeping from them for a very good reason. I don't really get his motivation. Maybe it was an accident, and if it were an accident, I would be very mad, very, very mad. But I would consider forgiving him. But then if he did that on purpose, it would also be breakup worthy for me. Does he not care about you at all? And they've been together for 3 years, so he should know her pretty well and he should be aware of this dynamics in this family. So for him to just walk around and blab the fucking secrets that she told him, and he's the only person she told, she trusted enough to confide in, and then for him to go and betray her like that, I would be very disappointed. It would be hard for me to trust this person moving forward because you're supposed to be with someone whom you can tell anything and be sure they're not gonna just go and announce it to everybody else. Okay, and the last story for today, absolutely enraging, so get ready if you're still here. It was very new when I screenshotted it. It was about like a week old. I don't know if it got big, but I would expect it to because it's terrible. Let's take a look at it before we all go. Am I the asshole for telling friends that my girlfriend, female 33, writes fan fiction? My girlfriend Sandra, female 33, and I, male 35, have been together for about a year now. We are not living together yet, but we've talked about this. We're both working in respectable fields. The other day I was out with some mates, and after our night, I was slightly tipsy and I thought of surprising Sandra, of course, a fake name, as I have keys to her flat. When I got there, I noticed she was asleep on the couch and her laptop was on the coffee table. She hates sleep mode, so she disabled it, so her laptop was on, not even locked. She had a Word document and it seemed she's been working on it. I caught some words and couldn't help myself. I started reading. I took the laptop to the kitchen to not wake her up. Turns out it was romantic fan fiction about one of her favorite TV series. Nothing steamy, just some silly girly romantic notions kind of bullshit. You know, the ones teenage girls dream of and then realize no man actually behaves like that. This gives me a very clear understanding of what type of man wrote this. It's like, no, Susan, I ain't touching the small of your back because you're cute, not catching those harassment allegations, if you know what I mean. I was curious and desired to spy a little bit to see if she's written more and discovered her accounts on 2 platforms for fanfiction. Had no idea those sites were that huge. Anyway, she's written a lot of them. All cutesy girly shit and some naughty stuff. Again, unrealistic in my opinion. Well, if you don't know how to fucking get her off, it doesn't mean that it's unrealistic. When she woke up in the morning, I confronted her. I love these men. They're amazing. They're like, I confronted her about like something that she didn't do wrong. I confronted her about this and she was defensive and started going on about privacy and stuff. You know, privacy, safety, and that type of lame shit nobody cares about. It's all girly anyway. I told her to cut the crap and to admit that she feels dissatisfied about our relationship and that's why she's writing, and I gave her a reality check and said her soft men she writes were unrealistic. The insecurity of this, astounding. It's bigger than Australia. She was really angry and kicked me out. I told her I'm not one of her characters and won't tolerate her mood swings, but she still kicked me out. She's just like, nope, I don't care. Get the fuck out. I support you, girl. Good decision. Later that day, we were meeting our friends for lunch. Sandra came, but barely spoke to me. At some point, we were talking about something, and I mentioned that Sandra writes, hoping that people will laugh. Hoping that people will laugh? What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm sorry, what? Okay, hoping people will laugh, and one guy did. The rest just ignored my news, which kinda surprised me. I tried to continue the topic and understand why everyone seemed okay with the cringe, but Sandra called me an asshole and went to the bathroom. My friend told me it would be best if I left, but I didn't want to do so because didn't do anything bad. Oh, this one is tough. When Sandra came back, she told me her writing is her private thing and I'm an asshole for bringing it up. I told her to grow up and call me when she comes to her senses, but she hasn't called me since. I hope she never does. I told my other friends and they agreed with me that what Sandra writes is cringe and should have been called out, and they don't think I'm the asshole, so I'm still confused about my other friends' reaction. Well, maybe your other friends, however they ended up in that position, are not complete dickheads, which is surprising again because they are your friends. It's strange. But anyway, I need impartial opinion. Am I the asshole for telling my friends? Well, first of all, yes, you are an awful human being in this situation. I don't know about different other situations, but in this one, it's pretty terrible. It looks pretty bad for you. This one is so charged, I don't even know where to start because I have so much to say, but I feel like I should just keep it concise and short. I will try to, but this one, it's a lot to unpack. I like how he included her age 2 times in the title and then in the story. And I have no doubt in my mind that he thought that including her age next to fanfiction in the title would make his point more solid, because it's very clear that he thinks fanfiction is fucking ridiculous. It's girly, it's silly. Even like how he points out that he had no idea those sites were that huge, you know, those sites. Bullshit. We also can a little bit suspect the reason for his whole attitude. He clearly thinks it's for little girls only. It somehow affects him that his fully adult girlfriend writes that and likes that. I will never understand how you can just judge people by their interests. And especially, I hate when people say, this is a childish, this is for kids. Who said that? Who literally said that? We can be 60 and enjoy fanfiction. Whatever. It's not your place to say. Maybe some people don't like that you're a 30-year-old male and all you do is collect sneakers. I think that's stupid, but I'm not gonna come and tell you that's stupid. I'm not gonna come and tell you that's childish. No, because it's your interest. Doesn't matter what I think, doesn't matter what anybody thinks. You can do that. And she can write fanfiction. There is nothing bad about it. And also, it's like this maliciousness makes it so much worse, because it would be one thing if he came in, he read it, got set off because, you know, he thinks it's childish. And yeah, the second reason I think he got so mad is because he's very insecure about himself and he has this problem with soft men, which I suspect are just men who are not being bitches towards their women. But anyway, it would be fine if, yeah, he came, got upset, and told her he doesn't like fanfiction. You don't like it, don't read it. She will have this for herself. Okay, you will just go your separate ways in this regard. But then he goes to the meeting with their friends where she's also present after they already had a disagreement over it. And he outs her secret, hoping that people will laugh at her. To like what? To validate your opinion? To make you feel better? To berate her? Why the fuck would you want people, your friends, to laugh at your girlfriend? What in the world is that logic? Why are you so toxic? Who hurt you? Get help. I don't get it. You can explain yourself, okay, but just don't be fucking condescending and mean and vicious about it, because it's vile. It's absolutely vile. I hope she never calls you again. Same as with one of the previous stories where the man was writing and he was like, she didn't call me yet to tell me her pen name. And I hope that woman didn't call him too, because these are that a facet that is slowly gonna corrode your self-esteem, run you to the ground, take chances to berate you and humiliate you into a full submission, and just keep being terrible because no one is stopping them and no one ever shows them that their behavior is problematic. This is all I have to say. I mean, I can go on a lot about the fact that, again, he invaded her privacy, that he didn't drop it after the friends didn't laugh, so he went to other friends so that they validate his opinion. He's like, what is wrong with you? Like, why aren't you laughing? I'm obviously so funny. This is hilarious. This is cringe. I could say a lot about that, but I'm not gonna, because this video is long enough as it is. Thank you for watching if you're still here. I'll see you with another one. Drop a like if you liked this video. Bye.